Lillahi ta'ala. Today we're going to start a new section. The author says, section, the conditions of purification from the greater and lesser religious impurities are, he's going to say what they are. The conditions of purification. So this is a section about the conditions for purification. Purification includes wudu and ghusl. So these conditions cover wudu and ghusl. Now really purification covers more than wudu and ghusl, because purification also includes removing filth. And the author here is not going to talk about removing filth. He's not going to talk about the conditions for removing filth here. So this is a section about the conditions for lifting religious impurity, not about the conditions for removing filth. He actually says that. He literally says here, the conditions of purification from greater and lesser religious impurities. He didn't say the conditions of purification are. If he said it that way, the conditions for purification are, then he should talk about also the conditions for removing filth. But he's not going to talk about that here. The way he worded this here is fine. So then he started giving the conditions. He said Islam. So it means for the wudu or the ghusl to be valid, you need to be a Muslim. But there's a detail. The detail for the case of a Muslim man who has a Jewish or Christian wife. If he has a Jewish or Christian wife and then she finishes her menses, her menstruation, then before he can have intercourse with her, she must perform a ghusl. But this is a ghusl without an intention. And it just looks like a ghusl. It looks like a ghusl from the outside. She's doing what appears to be a ghusl, but it doesn't have any intention because she's not a Muslimah and her intention is not valid. This is the exception to this case when we would expect the kafir to perform an act of purification. But if she became a Muslimah, then she has to repeat her ghusl. Then he said, mental discerning. That's when a person can understand when asked and can respond with comprehension. Once a person has this status, it usually happens at about 7 lunar years old. Could happen before that, could happen after that. The average is about 7 lunar years old. Average human is going to reach mental discerning at about 7 years old. 7 lunar years. 7 lunar years is 6.5 solar years. Then a person can do wudu or even a ghusl. Like, what if a man had a son, a little boy, and he's going to Jumu'ah? He's 7 years old, 8, 9 years old. He can tell his son, do a ghusl now. Make an intention. It's a sunnah ghusl. And there's also some detail here. 2 cases. One is the case of the guardian who takes his child to Hajj. The little child. The guardian took his little baby to Hajj. Then he can make wudu. He can make an intention for the baby and make wudu on the baby's organs. And then go around the Kaaba with the baby. or a crazy person. Someone took his crazy ward. Ward meaning the one he's in charge of. He's in charge of a crazy person. So this crazy person he's in charge of is called his ward. W-A-R-D. I think that's how you spell it. So he takes his ward, also same thing, makes an intention for him, and then washes him, washes his face, washes his arms, wipes his head, washes his feet, and then takes him around the Kaaba. That's valid. And also there's another case. That's all one. For what I just told you now, that's one thing. When you take the child or the crazy person to Hajj and you are the one who's in charge of their money, this is the one who can do this. The one who's in charge of the money of this one will make the intention for that one and then wash that one's organs for him, his wudu organs, and then take him around the Kaaba. That's one case. Another case is, what if a Muslim man had a crazy Muslim wife? His wife is Muslimah, crazy. And then her menses stopped. Then she also would do what appears to be a ghusl. She will do what appears to be a ghusl. All right, I think that's clear for you, inshaAllah ta'ala. Someone asked when they learned this, he can be intimate with his crazy wife? Yeah, he can. She's his wife. So Islam is the first condition. Mental discerning is the second condition. Pure, purifying water is the third condition. Pure means not filthy. Purifying means it's a purifier, makes other things pure. Purifying means you can use it for wudu, or you can use it for ghusl, or you can use it for cleaning filth. What's going to make it pure, purifying water? It's going to be like that. By default, automatically it's going to be pure, purifying water. Meaning any water that falls out of the sky and any water that comes out of the ground, you can use it for purification. You said, question, so means a crazy person can get married, or the situation is married first and then one of the spouses becomes crazy? Yeah, a crazy person can be married through their guardian. Crazy person needs a guardian to get married, male or female. Someone maybe has a daughter, she's crazy, and he found the benefit of getting her married. Because as her father, he only wants what's best for her. And he saw a benefit in giving her in marriage, so he did so. That's valid. Or also, he has a son, he's crazy, and he found a benefit in getting him married, so he did a marriage contract on behalf of his crazy son and got him married to a woman. That's valid. You're welcome. And of course, just to finish with your question, of course, maybe somebody was married and then went crazy. They're still going to be married. So I think that's all clear. Then the author says, therefore, lifting the religious impurity is not valid, nor is removing filth. Now it talks about removing filth. Except by using plain water, which is any water that fell from the sky or sprang from the earth. Yes. So So what's going to make water not pure? Filth. So we're going to talk about what makes water filthy. And what's going to make water not purifying, even if it's still pure? Could water be pure but not purifying? Yes. What's going to make it not purifying to something else? Two things. Either it was used already or it changed. Either it was used already or it changed. So, before I read, let me just tell you some information here. If you use water for obligatory wudu, you can't use it again. It's still pure, but it's not purifying anymore. If you use water for obligatory ghusl, you can't use it again, meaning for wudu or ghusl. You can use it for something else. You can use it to put a fire out. You can use it to water your plants. You can use it to give drink to your animals. You can even drink it yourself if it's not disgusting. Usually the people don't like to drink their own bath water, but if it's not disgusting, it's not haram. So when I say you can't use it again, I'm talking about for the religious impurity. If you used water for obligatory wudu or obligatory ghusl, you can't use it again. Or obligatory wudu or obligatory ghusl, or even for removing filth. And if you use water for removing filth, you can't use it again. Now you might, if you understand what I'm saying, then maybe some question comes to your mind. If you use water for cleaning, if you use water for wudu or ghusl, obligatory wudu or obligatory ghusl, or for cleaning najasa, you can't use it again for cleaning najasa? So, you might wonder. So if I had such water, let's say I made obligatory wudu, I made obligatory ghusl, and I recollected all that water. I stood inside of something so that when I made wudu, I got all of the water. And when I made a ghusl, I got all of the water. Now I have the used water. Now I want to clean some najasa. And then I take this water and I use it to clean najasa, and the najasa is all gone now. What's the problem here? Why? What are you talking about? So the answer is that spot that you use when you use that used water to clean the najasa is still filthy. Still filthy. How still filthy? Because don't forget, there's something called najasa hukmiyah. This means has the judgment of filth. Has the judgment of filth. Najasa hukmiyah has the judgment of filth. We're going to come to it. If you have a question, feel free. Okay. So, he says, therefore, lifting the religious impurity is not valid, nor is removing filth except by using plain water. Plain water, meaning whether it's ocean water, river water, well water, spring water, water melted from snow, water melted from hail. You can summarize that by saying any water that fell from the sky or sprang from the earth. No matter how it comes out, no matter how it reaches you. No, meaning, if this water fell out of the sky or it came out of the ground, like came out of the ground, came out of the side of the mountain or something, how it came out, green, black, smelly, tastes weird, it doesn't matter. No matter what qualities it has, No matter what qualities it has, when it comes down from the sky to you, or when it comes out of the ground to you, you can use it for purification. So we're not talking about drinking here, just talking about purification. If the flavor, color, or smell of the water changed profoundly, that means drastically, that means a lot. If the flavor, color, or smell of the water changed, a lot. By blending, that's an important word here, very important word. By blending with something pure. By blending with something pure. What does blending mean? Blending means whatever got into the water fused with the water. And you cannot tell the difference between what's in the water and the water itself. Like if you had tea, you can't tell the difference between the water and the tea. They're fused together now. Or coffee, or the likes of that. There's sugar in the water, or something else, ink in the water. If the flavor, color, or smell of water changed profoundly by blending with something pure. Why blending is such an important word? Because it's possible for water to change another way. Water might change just by sitting and getting old. This is still usable for purification. Some of the scholars said this is why Allah makes the ocean always moving. Because if it doesn't move all the time, it will go bad. The water will get stale. So Allah makes it in constant motion so it doesn't spoil. But it's still purifying, still usable for purification. Uh, Even if it went bad by being stale. Or maybe it changed by something that's in the water but doesn't blend with the water. Like maybe there's a rock in the water or a stick and it makes the water turn green or makes the water smells like the water starts smelling like the stick because there's a stick in there. This water is still usable for purification because the stick does not blend with the water. But if it happened that the stick starts to disintegrate in the water and it's the very small pieces start to separate from it and then dissolve in the water, then if it changes drastically this way, then no, you can't use it because now it's blended, fused. Or how else water might change? Maybe there's something next to the water, not even in the water, just next to the water. And the water started to smell like that thing that's next to it, or started to taste like that thing that's next to it. This water is still usable for purification. So that's why the word blend is very, very important here. If the flavor, color, or smell of the water changed profoundly by blending with something pure. What does something pure mean? It means not najas, not filth. We're not talking here about urine getting in the water or feces or blood or anything like that. Something pure blends with the water, and this pure blending substance is something from which the water is usually clear. Yani is something that's usually easy to keep out of the water. Then if this stuff that's usually easy to keep out of the water gets into the water, blends with the water, and changes it severely, then you can't use it. It's not usable anymore. It's called changed water. Like saffron, potash. I don't remember what that is. It says here in Microsoft Word says potassium hydroxide and caustic potash. So I don't know about chemicals and stuff and elements. So it's probably interesting knowledge though. But these things, they are usually easy to keep out of the water, like ceramic or kuhul. You know, the kuhul that you put in your eyes. Did you ever spill kuhul in your water? Probably not. It's easy to keep out of the water. Then if this stuff that's usually easy to keep out of the water falls into the water, blends with the water, and changes the water severely, it's not permissible to make purification with it. Changes the water how severely? So severely that you don't call that water anymore. Like if someone offers you a cup of tea, what do you say? Here, you want some water? Even though probably it's like more than 95% water, probably like, I don't know, 98, 99% water. But it's not valid to say when he offers you a cup of tea, you want a cup of water. It loses its name when it gets changed so drastically. So if enough salt falls into your water, you're going to call it salt water. Or sugar fell in your water, you're going to call it sugar water. Unless the change is just a little bit, very slight change. Like what? Like maybe you had a bottle of Pepsi or Coke or Fanta or something. Your local drink. Then after you finish drinking that and you emptied it, you drank everything in there, then you pour some water in that same container. Then what you might find that that water very slightly tastes like whatever was in there. Or very slightly smells like whatever was in there. But still water though. Because the change in that case so insignificant, you're still going to call that water. So if someone asks you, what are you drinking? You're going to say, it's just water. And they say, what? What? That's a Pepsi bottle. Say, yeah, but it's just water in here. I filled it with water. Even if it has very little change in there. Is this clear? Do you have any question? So, if the flavor, color, or smell of the water changed profoundly by blending with something pure from which the water is usually clear, like saffron, potash, plaster, ceramic, or kuhl, it would not be permissible to make purification with it, because then the water is called what? Changed. Then it's called changed water. Then the author says the water's judgment is not harmed if the change were due to being stale. Yani, it's just sitting there, it doesn't move. Then it became as if it went bad. This water is still purifying. Yani, you might have a toy that has water in there. Don't drink that water. Yani, not unless you really, really have to. It's probably old water in there. Or soil. If soil gets into the water. Soil is not like these things that we mentioned above. Saffron, potash, plaster, ceramic, kuhul. Soil has a different judgment, which is that soil does not take away the purifying power of water, even if it changes the water greatly. I'll give you an example. Let's say there was rain, a lot of rain, and you were in a camp or somewhere where there's just land, not cement. Now the ground is saturated, full of water. And if you step there, your foot will go down because the ground is so saturated. And when your foot goes down, what comes up? Wouldn't it be some brown water comes up, or water that's the color of whatever is the color of the soil? When your foot goes down, some water is going to come up. It's going to be the color of the soil. This stuff here, can you use it for purification? The answer is yes, you can. Maybe you're not going to feel comfortable putting muddy water in your face, but still valid. Yes, I'll repeat the example. You have, let's just say, some people went to a camp where you sleep in tents and things like that, go hiking, so that we can set the scene here that there's a lot of soil around, soft ground, not cement. And then it rained a lot, and now the ground is saturated with water. And then you stepped on the wet ground. Because it's so wet and saturated with water, what's going to happen is your foot's going to go down, right? Your foot's going to go down, and when your foot goes down, water is going to come up. No, not like a puddle of water. I don't mean a puddle of water. Like if the ground weren't wet, it would just be soil. Because I want to give you a picture of soil mixing with water. So not just a mere puddle of water here. There's going to be a puddle because you stepped there. And you step there and makes the ground go down because now it's wet, so it's going to go down when you step there. But when the ground goes down, the water is going to come up. It's like you're squeezing a sponge. You follow me? Yeah. When that water comes up, it's going to look like the soil. It's going to be the same color as the soil. It's going to be muddy water. It's not mud, it's water. But it's like muddy water. It's murky water. The scholar said the soil only makes water murky and does not remove its purifying power. as long as it's water. Say again? As long as it's water. Yani, it didn't turn into mud yet. It's just water. If you want dirty water, it's dirty water. Well, I was avoiding the word dirt. It's soily water. This is valid for purification, even though this water is brown now. You can put it on your face with good intention. May Allah bless you. Ameen. You're going to say, I'm going to pray. And this is the water I have available here. I'm going to use this water and obey my Lord. And sea salt has the same rule. Sea salt and soil, these have the same rule. Sea salt in particular, not mountain salt or ground salt. The scholars said sea salt is like ice. Oh, sea salt like ice, not by being cold. That's not how they're alike. They're alike by being created from the water. The ice is created from the water, and the sea salt is created from the water. And so, like you can put ice into water, it might dissolve back into the water. Likewise, you could put sea salt into the water and it will dissolve back into the water. Even if you put it on in there on purpose, it's not going to remove the purifying power of the water. As long as that's still water. So the water's judgment is not harmed if the change were due to being stale or to soil, and I just added for you, or sea salt, or moss. Moss is the green stuff. Looks like some grassy type of stuff, or mold. It's like a mold that grows on the water. This does not affect the purifying power of the water. Or what is in the water's place or pathway. So yani, you might be at a lake, you gotta make wudu. Maybe there's moss there. So you might try to clear the moss away or something. I don't know what you're gonna do. But that water is still valid for purification. The water's judgment is not harmed if the change were due to being stale or due to soil or moss, or what is in the water's place or pathway. What's in the water's place? Yani, where the water is, there's something there. An example that the scholars mention is the likes of a pond that has by it a tree. And this tree, its leaves fall off of it. And let's say these leaves they get dry when they break off of the tree, or they just dry. They dry up and they disintegrate, they crumble, and they get so disintegrated. So basically, if they turned into powder from falling apart and fell into the water and mixed with the water, blended with the water actually, this is harmless to the water as far as being able to use it for purification. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Who needs these rules? Soldier is going to need these rules. An outdoorsman or outdoors woman, like an adventurer, a Muslim adventurer, they're going to need those types. A scout, he's going to need these rules because he's out there in the land. A Muslim pioneer, what's in the water's place or the water's pathway, like rust in pipes. the rust in the pipes, that's in the water's pathway. Then the water comes out red. You can still use that water for purification. And nor is the change that is due to what is in the water like a stick. I told you that. Or a fragrant oil. There's an oil in the water. You can still use this water. Why? Because the oil in the water won't blend. You know, water and oil don't blend. You would be able to see the difference between the water and the oil with your mere eye. You just look at it, you can see. This is water, this is oil. It is not valid to make purification by what you use to perform purification. Yani, you can't reuse what you used, whether for religious impurity or filth. Can't use used water for religious impurity or for filth. Then there's a note here. Let's save that note for next time, inshallah, so we can take our time with it.